Hey everyone. Right as I want to start, there are dogs barking, but it's getting dark and I need to record this if I want to record it tonight outside. Anyway, with school starting back up again, I'd like to share something about a subject in school that I think can really easily get overlooked in terms of its importance and potential value that it could offer us and just like our students in life, and that is history class. Um, so, as that the class is taught, well, I wouldn't say now because I'm basing this off of when I was in high school, which I graduated in 2008. So, back in the day, when I was in high school and even middle school and learning about history class, the emphasis was mostly on what happened, where it happened, when it happened, and who did what. So, names, dates, and places, and that kind of stuff. Know this stuff. And so it was like on who, what, when, where, but there was really not much emphasis at all on the why. And I totally understand that there are teachers out there that probably do this, but I really feel like if we went about looking at history differently or learning about history differently, we could not only know the dates and the names and the places, I think we can know those things better actually, but we can learn a lot about how to act from this point on in the future. Because there's a common saying that says, history always repeats itself. It's incomplete. It should be, history always repeats itself if you do the same thing. So, if we can learn about history in terms of like, okay, so this is what happened, these are the people who were involved at this time in this place. So we learn about all that stuff, all the important stuff, right? But then we say, okay, so why did this happen? Why do you think this happened? Okay, so there's this going on and this going on. The people had these kind of ideas in their minds, that kinds of beliefs that they had at this time. And so all that stuff happened, and then look at the result that happened after that. And how do you think that all that stuff that made those people feel? Now, how do you think that they carried on their life moving forward? I mean, all of this stuff that it really doesn't get talked about a whole lot because school doesn't involve a lot of sharing right now. But if we could actually, so, me as a teacher, I mean, like I play the role as a teacher, and I learn the most when I listen to the students saying things about their experience and their point of view. People are so much more wise than they think that they are, and that maybe we think that they are too. And so just because there's a kid who is like 13 years old and doesn't have a lot of life experience, it doesn't mean that we can't learn something from them. And the best teachers, I think, are the ones who are always wanting to learn, always wanting to learn. And I really do think that the students could learn a lot better if they felt like they had something valuable to share and they were listened to. Because, like we all know, you get what you give. And so, if you want them to hear you, well, hear them. And so then we can have this interaction. But most importantly, we can learn about why things happened. And then we can discuss, okay, so maybe how can we do things differently from this point on so that doesn't happen again? Like, for example, at the end of World War I remember that the world, I think it was like NATO or something like that, I don't know, don't quote me on this, but that the rest of the world put a lot, I think it was called like a lot of reprimands, I think, on Germany, which was like really harsh, things in terms of like the economy and all that stuff. Again, I'm not an expert in this kind of stuff, but I know it was harsh. And then so if we look back at that, and then okay, so then what happened, in Germany after that? And then what ended up happening again very soon after that. And so then in this example, we can see that, okay, maybe punishment doesn't help. Maybe punishment doesn't solve the problem here. And then we can discuss, okay, so if we don't punish people for doing the wrong thing, then what can we do? And I mean, it can open up such a beautiful conversation. And I'm a really big fan of teaching and learning. And I really do think that punishment is an unconscious reaction, kind of like, an emotional reaction that thinks it's going to solve a problem. But what I really think that punishment is not trusting in ourselves to either teach or learn a new way of living. So if we punish somebody else, then we don't have trust that we can teach a new way of living. And if we punish ourselves for doing something, then we don't have trust in ourselves that we can learn a new way of living. So, yeah, just like, a couple thoughts on not the what, but the how. So history class, okay, that's the what. But the how we go about these things is so much more important than the what. So how are we looking at history? How are we learning about history? With what intention do we have to learn about history? And if there are any teachers watching this, I mean, that would be amazing. And maybe you can bring as much of this into your class as you can. I know that you have requirements and stuff, but I bet you that the students will learn the facts a lot better if they're expanded upon and if they're brought into the equation. All right, lots of love to you all. See you next time.